Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Dominion League Season 47 Championship match between JNails and nasmith99. I am Akuchi, and I am joined in commentary by seanahan.
Hello, hello.
This is a very close and standing. I'm going to show the standings in A here. So 18.5 wins for NA Smith and 18 for JNails. JNails going to need 3.5 wins in this 6-game match to be the league champion for the first time ever. NA Smith looking to defend his title. He's got, what, two, three in a row?
Just one in a row,
Oh, okay.
and then two lost in the finals the previous two seasons, then won the season before that. So this is the fifth season in a row in the title game for New Smith,
Got it. Okay, impressive.
and against different players every time as well. So Mixina, Crabcaps, Johns. So it's JNails' turn to attempt to dethrone.
All right, we'll see how it goes. On to the first kingdom. Hmm.
So there's a lot of pieces here, but notably there's no village, so it's going to be difficult to build a huge engine.
Yeah, I think Alchemist as non-terminal draw could be valuable, but on that front, there's no plus buy, though there is Stonemason.
Yeah, Stonemason's quite nice with Alchemist. If you can get 5 potion, then you can gain 2 Alchemist.
And there is Desperation that will kind of enable those big Stonemason overpays, but trashing curses is going to be not easy.
Yeah, you could do something with Watchtower where you have a Watchtower in hand and you can even fetch the Stonemason and the Curse from Desperation to get the 2 Alchemists, which could be interesting. Uh, there is no, with shelters, so without starting a States, rebuild is quite a bit worse. So I don't think we'll see any rebuild stuff today.
Yeah, both players with the 3/4. I think on a 4 copper starting hand, I'd be tempted to do like Desperation Doctor open. Get, 3 trashes in, hopefully 2 shelters, but
Yeah, that seems like a pretty strong line. And we may see that anyways with Silver on the open and then doing the Desperation and trash 3 and turn 2, and hopefully you don't see the Silver in one of the 3 cards. But there's also Alter you could go for on turn 2 to start altering. Um, Not that there's great targets for Alter. I wonder if you end up with a bunch of Chariot races.
and I guess we should mention that rebuild is an option. The engine here isn't super strong, and I don't know how much Desperation helps with rebuild. Um,
Yeah, it certainly will speed it up a little bit because it enables you to hit 5 quite a bit more reliably. Um, I'm just concerned with the lack of starting estates. You've got to invest a little bit of time in
that's
getting those
true.
back
That's
up.
gonna take about an extra turn on average or so. So we have a Watchtower open for NA Smith. That was not on my radar.
Yeah, that kind of leads me to think that could be going toward rebuild. So if you're doing a bunch of desperation stuff, obviously the Watchtower is pretty nice because you get the free money, the free 2 coins. You don't have to spend it
Ah, that's true. Yeah.
for the curse. Um,
So you think we'll see a double Watchtower open from NA Smith?
yeah, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Just planning on trying to buy desperation every turn and build up the engine that way.
Well, also just giving you the option to play one Watchtower so you get the other one in hand or something like that. Like the
Yeah, it
collision
just
doesn't bother you at that point if you were planning on relying on the Watchtower as basically a I can buy a Desperation now without worrying about it.
yeah, it feels tough without doing some thinning of your starting cards. But there's Doctor, there's Alter, there's Plan,
Yeah, I do
there's
like the
Stonemason and
look of
Pinch.
Plan. Um, if you're building, Plan on Stonemason could be pretty good. And if you're doing the rebuild thing, then of course plan on rebuild. I don't like that. I don't think that's as necessary because you're not trashing. Well, with shelters, I guess you do want to trash your overgrown estate. Never
Yeah,
mind. You want to trash your hovel? I get confused. Overgrown estate is the victory type.
yeah. So Naismith goes for the altar, um, and JNails goes for the Doctor overpay. So we've already got a bit of a divergence here.
Okay. That doctor saw overgrown estate, which and hovel. Very nice doctor.
Yeah, and did not see the watchtower. So a good start.
Speaking of good starts, it's turn 3 with the Necropolis Watchtower into altar, into overgrown estate. Very nice for N.A. Smith.
Yeah. Um, I tend to give NA Smith a little bit of an edge here in this match, just due to their past dominance at the top of the ladder ratings. But JNails is right up there. They're both JNails I think is number 6 in the live rankings right now. To Naismith's number 2, and they played earlier this season, and I guess in history, JNails has 8 wins and 15 losses against Naismith in the league with 1 tie. So I don't think that's necessarily indicative because I think JNails is playing as well as they've ever played right now.
This is interesting. What do you gain with your altar? This is the question.
Yeah, I kind of want to put plan on something, but I'm not quite sure what that is yet. Um, is that you gain another watchtower here and plan chariot race, or plan uh, gain
You don't want to
potion
get a
here,
potion here? Yeah.
um, and then you could plan alchemist and try to go for that.
I would plan stonemason, I think, over alchemist.
Because if you're doing the overpay, then the plan you only get the plan effect if you're buying stonemason. But looks like I was wrong, and we're going to see some rebuild stuff.
Rebuild combined with a doctor. That is quite a lot of trashing for a rebuild deck. Interesting to see how this gets played.
Yeah, it's also turn 3, and they've already trashed a bunch of cards and added a bunch of pieces to these decks. So
Yeah, definitely
it
good
looks
shuffle
like
management. I think that was what N.A. Smith was going for with the doctor to try to trigger that shuffle. Now, here's the funny thing: N.A. Smith has the rebuild, but does not have any victory cards in the deck right now. So this was a fortunate draw. Um, you can now use altar to gain duchy if
yeah.
they want to.
So JNails has a similar issue. If they don't play the Watchtower, and I assume they're not going to buy a second Doctor, their next shuffle's a little bit, or their next turn 4 for JNails is going to be a little bit sad
For
in terms
sure.
of they've got Coppers and Necropolis and Doctor down there, I believe.
Yeah.
So they could do the desperation for rebuild and trash the curse, and then um, buy a green card next turn, and do some more trashing with the Doctor, or they could play the Watchtower, try to draw more things, um, potentially get access to the rebuild even next turn. Although it wouldn't have any green cards, as you pointed out, similarly to Naismith. So
Okay, we do not have a mirror. Instead, JNail's going for a chariot race and fortune teller.
fortune
Now, does that
tellers
that doesn't really hurt
against
rebuild, right?
it helps rebuild a little bit, I think,
You get
or
some
at least it.
information, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could still skip your rebuilds, but it does give you the information about what's coming up. But it helps the chariot race deck too a bit, I guess. Although in my mind, the rebuild deck is very quickly going to have duchies and provinces as their greens, and so the fortune teller is going to make sure that they're top decking a high value card.
Huh. It's interesting. Annie Smith decides to play the doctor instead of the altar. Winds up with an estate instead of the duchy. Um, but I guess was hoping to hit 2 copper.
Yeah, and JNails hits 3 coppers, so their deck is already kind of online here. In terms of being thin and roughly speaking, they've got their Necropolis and they're able to play 2 terminals.
Yeah, there's a little synergy between Doctor and Chariot Race as well. The trouble there is Necropolis is the only way to play Doctor, and then have the Chariot Race come after that.
Yeah, I wonder if JNails now pivots to rebuild as well, or if they're going to go for a big stack of chariot races and try to win a bunch of chariot races and outscore rebuild that way.
Yeah, I feel like that could be competitive. You don't know with Chariot Race, but really, all it takes is the opponent to top deck 1 0 cost card, and you're just going to get a bunch of points that turn. But it looks like we see
Yeah,
an
absolutely.
altar. Hmm.
Yeah, so a little bit unfortunate to draw the altar, but you kind of expect it given the state of the deck there. I think they're trying to draw around and see their rebuild more frequently. They've already got 2 curses in deck, so I don't think they're going to take another desperation. The curses do start to hurt quite a bit.
Plan on rebuild. That's, well, Smith is not buying a rebuild this turn.
I don't think they have 5 coppers in their deck either.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely tricky.
yeah, they've trashed 3 coppers, I believe. So they may have to stop and buy us. I guess they can desperation for it.
If they
Uh,
see 3 copper, is this doctor going to
yeah,
call copper? Because if so, they might not hit 3 next turn.
yeah, probably this doctor will name curse. I guess it's a little bit sad that you drew one of the curses, but uh, copper will trash more things. I like JNL's position here, although neither deck seems like it's doing very much.
Yeah, I don't. It's an awkward board, um, but I don't think I've ever found myself in a position similar to this playing Dominion. So, don't know how to. I don't know really what their build plan is.
Yeah, I mean, I would say neither of them seem like they're going to go for Alchemist City Point here. Um,
You say
which
that, and then JNails bought a potion.
Yeah, well, that's commentator's curse, I believe that's called. Um, yeah. So and Naismith names copper and trashes 2 more coppers. They do now have three coppers left in the deck. Is their total payload plus desperation can get them up to 5 potentially.
Yeah, I mean, Smith can just gain a rebuild from this altar, but probably better to gain a duchy, actually, because they're going to be able to turn their last duchy into a province. So,
Yeah, I was trying to justify the planned purchase over like Chariot Race or Silver or something. Uh, so JNails is able to grab, it looks like 2 Chariot Races, trash the Curse, trash the Stonemason, I would expect.
yeah, you do not
Somewhat
want
worth noting, this
that.
game can end very, very quickly. The Curse pile will be gone very soon. Stonemason's always a good target to run.
Yeah, I don't know what the
Um,
third pile would be. Like, since there's not a rebuild mirror, I wouldn't expect duchies to be at risk here.
yeah, although both players have altars, so um, some also the strategy JNL seems to be going for seems to be heavy in chariot races and alchemists. So I expect they'll probably be getting those in pairs fairly soon.
This is a pretty unfortunate situation to have your potion in.
Yeah, and I assume they're gonna trash the doctor here for something. Desperation, buy an alchemist. If you're gonna make alchemists work, you got to start gaining him,
Yeah.
and you can always trash that curse later. Um, and again, this is the chariot race. They got to hope that JNails has something bad on top, or sorry, Naismith has something bad on top, so JNails can reveal it.
I guess fortune teller. Yeah, that's also, well. First of all, you're probably not playing any chariot races after fortune teller, but that it doesn't seem like much of a synergy either. Because Smith is probably not going to be getting. Is not going to have estates very much in the deck.
Yeah, In fact, they may never have. They may just be gaining duchies with altar.
Here, ooh, is this going to be a duchy gain so rebuild can turn that into a province on a clean shuffle? Not bad. So yeah, one rebuild. You put plan on it. You don't need another one. It's fine.
Yeah. Uh, JNails hasn't used plan at all yet, so we'll see. Somewhat unfortunate draws here for JNails, but we'll see if they've got a plan to get out of this. Because I think Naismith can start, um, you know, going through duchies pretty quickly. Don't quite know what to plan. Okay, they're gaining two more chariot races and trashing the curse and the stonemason.
Mm-hmm.
And we're about to see the curse pile run out on turn 9.
I missed when the bishop was gained. That's interesting. A lot of terminals in that deck.
Yeah, they gained it off the altar play last turn when they altered the doctor.
Now they can bishop the altar and complete the cycle of trashing trashers.
If only there was transmute, we could
Start it all over
have a
again.
much nicer cycle. So presumably Naismith knows what these bottom 3 cards are. They're just making the determination what they want to do with them. It can be a little bit tricky to track your deck when you're playing rebuild and you're fortune teller. But the deck's not so large that they don't pretty much know what everything is.
So N.A. Smith has one duchy and 2 provinces in the deck. So the question is, well, there is a question of there's a duchy on top there. You don't want to draw that, but there's really no way around that. So here's where Fortune Teller hurts, right? N.A. Smith doesn't have the rebuild in hand. You top decked a duchy that you'd really like in your discard pile.
And I assume this should be second. Yeah. So this is a pretty sizable. 16 points is a lot of points on this kingdom. There's not so much VP in this kingdom, even with Chariot Race and Bishop, that JNails can afford to get much further behind.
Yeah, no VP from N.A. Smith this turn. Well, the rebuild is just going to mill a province, presumably. Ooh, revealing a rebuild is nice.
Yes, you can draw it with Chariot Race, certainly. If JNails had the Fortune Teller, certainly to do everything they could to play the Fortune Teller right now in order to block the other rebuild from being drawn. But it does look like Naismith's in a pretty commanding position here.
And, I mean, it could have gone quite differently just with the Chariot Race reveals. JNails has gotten an unfortunate, reveals.
Yeah, the draws were a little bit off. The potion was in the wrong half of the shuffle when
But just this turn, imagine that there's a 0 cost card top decked. Then
right.
JNails has 4 potion, 3 extra VP, and can just stonemason for 2 more alchemists. That's a nice place to be.
Even if there's if one of if the chariot race is on top, then it's not quite as nice, but you've still got. But yeah, there's curses. There's an Acropolis and copper still in Naismith's deck. So JNails can try to play on a little bit in terms of that and say, well, if one of these shuffles Naismith does top deck a copper, I'm almost getting a province worth of VP just from playing chariot races. And I assume JNails really wants the desperation here to take the last curse.
We got to win the curse split. Yeah, I mean, so you bishop the altar, right?
Yeah, I guess. And then you can stonemason for or two alchemists, and
Like, I don't think the altar's doing whole lot for you.
yeah, it did a little bit of work, but there's just not great targets for JNails. Duchy is seemingly the best. Duchy and Rebuild are the best targets here. To answer Recycle Garbage, yes, I think the chariot races will have to be almost perfect from this point on. I think earlier JNails would have hit some better price points if they won a few chariot races that they could have built their deck up a little bit faster, and then it would have been closer.
And NA Smith with the chariot race points. Oof. Oh no, the double rebuild in hand. It's over. And
Yeah,
JNails doesn't
certainly
even know it.
if you top deck rebuild every time, it is a little bit easier. If you find rebuilds at the bottoms of your shuffles, or you skip one rebuild, then it feels like you only have one rebuild, even though you bought two. Naismith with the altar on top of the deck.
JNails can't win.
Yeah. So it looks like this one is going to be over here in about two turns. This game ends. JNails doesn't resign.
I mean, that's the fastest it can end, yeah.
And I assume here we'll see milling too.
No, you can name province here. You have a duchy down there.
Ah, right. So they can even gain a.
Get some extra points, yep.
Yeah, and some consideration, I guess, to doing something with altering the watchtower, or
Yeah. I mean, you can get another duchy.
altering the province into a rebuild and decking it. That's maybe a little bit too cute,
Yeah, I would not do that.
but that guarantees you see a rebuild next turn.
So that was
Um,
a smart play from NA Smith to not name province because they want to get as clean of a shuffle as they can. Like they don't want to trigger a shuffle without the rebuilds, and they knew they had exactly two green cards.
yeah,
So naming not province there was pretty important. This could be another
yeah,
rebuild. It could be a duchy. Both are probably winning.
yeah. I guess rebuild ends the game faster.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
which we see they drew two rebuilds again, and are going to win this one. I, for one, certainly underestimated the ability to get rebuild online and working here.
Yeah, it
We've
was an
got 21 VP on turn 11.
interesting approach. I would not have thought to trash so aggressively when pursuing a rebuild strategy, but worked out very nicely.
And JNails just cannot win a race as they don't have any cards above 5 in their deck.
Blocked at every turn, and part of that is due to NA Smith's trashing. I think at this point they have like one copper in the deck.
Copper,
No, zero
Chariot Race,
coppers.
Watchtower. Or, yeah, but they have Chariot Race, Watchtower, Doctor,
Yeah.
Necropolis still, I believe. So
Yeah.
potentially four things that would have let JNails get a bunch of points.
Yeah.
It's too, yeah, etiquette dictates that Naismith can't say anything. But if I was playing this game in person, I would just kind of flash the two rebuilds in hand to my opponent and let them know that I had a winning pile out on my turn. Uh,
I yeah, I don't even know what I'd be planning to do as JNails. Like get a second bishop.
yeah, I mean,
Trash the
try to
stonemason, get a second bishop.
get a gold as something that could win races for you.
But you can't like set that up really. You just have to
Yeah,
hope, and it's just one card. So
yeah, and I mean, I think with better races, I think JNails is still behind, but potentially they could, they're down 11, so potentially if they hit 8 here and we're 5 province and Naismith, missed their rebuilds or something, it could be a little bit closer
I guess
here.
you could get an altar, and then the idea would be you gain a 5 cost card for your final chariot race to pull up, and then eventually you bishop the altar. None of it matters, of course, but I think that looks pretty good to me.
Yeah, and we also see, the early desperation, the curse pile is empty, so there's not even, in other desperation games, you might have the opportunity to desperation for province here.
Yeah, but JNails definitely doesn't want to do that. But yeah, you're right. It is a handicap that JNails could not get the last province if that would be a winning play, like next turn. And I guess that would be a motivation. Well, you could if you win all your chariot races.
Yeah. So in which case you just take a duchy here and hope.
I would take altar
Yeah, take altar and then.
because you can gain a duchy from that and hopefully win a chariot race as a result of that.
Yeah, I think it's really tough for Naismith to miss rebuilds 2 turns in a row. It's technically possible with Fortune Teller, though, I think. Maybe it isn't. Do they have more than 7 cards in their deck? They have 3 rebuilds. It seems like it may be actually impossible for that to happen. I guess they could just draw a random deck twice and see rebuild. But as it is, Naismith's got the pilots. So well done. A nice strategy there.
Yeah, very interesting early game options with Desperation and Doctor.
I would have said there wasn't too much interesting going on that board. So both those players found some interesting strategies. And 12 turns to end the game is pretty quick.
That was N.A. Smith's start, so now JNails gets to be first player. N.A. Smith taunting JNails there.
I was going to say needling, taunting. It's all in good fun.
I think JNails was just trying to lower the gold stats, like win rate associated with getting gold stats. That was the entire purpose of that purchase. All right, we have another board, and we've got King's Court Wharf. No other plus actions. Well, other than King's Court.
Yeah.
Little awkward. And there's no way to trash your own cards, so is Pirate Ship relevant, is what the chat wants to know. And it might be.
Yeah, normally I would say when there's King's Court, there's an engine. But it looks tough here to get an engine up and running.
Oh, I fully believe we're going to draw a deck. We're going to play King's Courts and Wharfs, and we're going to draw a deck. It is awkward, and there's a question of whether you go for Apothecary.
I think you have to early on. My thought here would be, although the City Gate opening makes it, the 3/4 makes it more awkward because you may hit 5 turn 2.
I don't think that's awkward. I think that's the intention.
That's desired, but then you just start buying wharves, and then when do you have time to pick up a potion and apothecaries?
Well, you don't, but that's okay. Like you don't need apothecaries here. It's optional. But if you're not getting apothecary, you're definitely going to be adding some silvers to your deck. And so if the ultimate goal is pirate ship and you believe the opponent wants pirate ship, those silvers could just be feeding the beast ultimately. I think
there's always a trade-off there with pirate ship because you're helping your opponent thin their deck of coppers as well.
Oh yeah, you don't want to get pirate ship anytime soon. You want to draw deck first. I think I would have preferred a 4-3 here, because then Potion City Gate looks quite a bit better.
Yeah, there's a possibility even to hit Apothecary on turns 3 and 4.
Yes, that would be very nice. Um, 3-4's more awkward.
Yeah, as it stands for JNails, there's 3 coppers and 2 estates in the discard pile. So there's a 60% chance that JNails will find a copper and be able to afford a wharf, um, which is what happens.
Long think from an Smith, but he follows. And looks like we're going to have a mirror.
And then we see if we end up buying silvers or if we're
I think I
if
want.
we're
I think I'm happy with 1 silver. Like King's Court costs a lot of money.
yeah. And if you can get King's Court on wharf even once, then you're basically drawing deck. You're going to have a bunch of money to be able to afford more pieces
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
Like
And I guess you draw deck twice the turn you play it, and then the next turn with the duration.
so yeah, JNails picks up the silver. City Gate to the rescue to save this bottom decked wharf.
Yeah, and there once you've drawn 5 to buy the wharf 2 with City Gate, you're guaranteed. You're pretty much guaranteed. Well, I guess you're not guaranteed, but you're likely to not hit a good number turn 3, which is what we see for both players.
Yeah, like I don't even think you want a King's Court at this point if you could get it. Like you want probably 3 wharves before you get a King's Court, I'm thinking. So I don't see much benefit to top decking the copper, but Any Smith does it. Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, I think N.A. Smith is saying no to pirate ship. That's what that Duchess signals to me.
It also seems to indicate that they expect JNails to go for pirate ship.
Maybe I was thinking they just want another target for a King's Court, but they're not hitting King's Court anytime soon. Well, maybe. I don't know. Because I was saying, like, you probably want 3 wars before you get a King's Court. Well, if you have 2 wars and a Duchess, like, I'd also feel pretty comfortable adding a King's Court if I could.
And in the worst case scenario, you draw the King's Court and top deck City Gate.
Yeah, that's well, no, I mean, yeah, I guess.
I mean, yeah, there's some scenarios where you don't have enough actions and you draw King's Court with no actions, but City Gate kind of blocks that. Apothecary is also a little bit nice for that, or organizing your deck. So if you, for example, you don't draw the King's Court deck, the Wharf play.
I didn't pay attention to JNails' 4th turn, but they did not see 5 copper, I guess, and so they bought a potion. Do I have that right? They saw all 3 estates on turn 4? Yeah, that I guess so. And then on turn 5, they got King's Court because they saw silver and all those coppers. So possibly it wasn't the primary plan, but JNails is now playing with a potion and apothecaries, which I think will be pretty good. It gives you more flexibility with how you do things with King's Court.
Yeah, we did see the somewhat sad, lonely King's Court, but just goes right back on top of the deck. And before we knew it, Naismith has bought a venture, which really seems to indicate that they don't think anybody's going to ship.
And it revealed and discarded their King's Court when they played it. Maybe they shouldn't have gotten that venture.
I don't really think I would have expected venture to be bought here, but
that is blowing my mind. Was that a misclick? I don't know how you would misclick there. I'm confused about the venture. All right, it looks like no pirate ship because now JNails has gotten a Duchess.
Yeah, and so with a couple of wharves, especially if you're able to king's court them, you can make pretty good work
This
of drawing
venture
the deck.
has skipped N.A. Smith's King's Court again. All right, Freaky still thinks pirate ship is in the cards.
As JNails here, who seems to be well, that they've at least been able to play their king's court. Has a
Yeah,
little bit better deck
it sure
control.
looks good when you have a King's Court Wharf headed into your turn. Yeah, I don't think this will be the new normal because that is JNails' only King's Court, I believe, right?
Yeah, but there's this discussion. There's a thought JNails was having here. They've got a wharf down there, I believe, another apothecary, but this apothecary is only going to draw one card. It looks like because all the potions and coppers are in hand. So they're
True.
possibly thinking about top decking this apothecary for next turn. Um, I
Yeah.
think I would be leaning towards playing it, but to try to find the wharf. There was a Duchess down there as well, but try to find the wharf to play it, so you've got a more chance of duration stuff next turn.
I mean, that was
Ventura discarded another King's Court.
you just have to keep on adding more King's Courts, right?
Yeah,
That way Venture can't discard them all, can it? Unfortunate. There's not going to be any. Oh, this is quite unfortunate. There's no way to play both of those King's Courts.
you just play the Duchess and pass turn. You
Huh.
draw a King's Court and
That
King's Court a wharf.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough call. I would not pass turn here. I think I would go for it. You're gonna like you're gonna get pretty, let's see, 13 cards. So and that apothecary like might draw an extra one or two cards, and then you're gonna King's Court the Wharf to draw six more. And then in the next turn you'll have six duration cards. That seems real good.
Yeah, I'm just thinking they've got King's Court, Wharf, Apothecary down in those bottom 10. So, next turn could be huge, but I think,
But then
passing a whole turn seems tough.
I forget. So King's Court Wharf, one of those King's Courts is gonna stay out, right? Even if you like
Correct.
the first King's Court will always be discarded from play. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, which you're going to have happening anyways if you're King's Courting Wharf this turn. Um,
All right, looks like JNails is playing.
it
No, I'm
seems,
wrong.
yeah. So this leaves the King's Court on top,
I
and they've got another. They've got the Wharf and Apothecary down there.
I don't think I like that play. Like, what if you don't see Apothecary here? You have no duration draw. That
Yeah, that seems quite
I
risky.
that seemed hot. Like I did would just King's Court the Wharf there.
It seems to have worked out because now they'll probably King's Court this Apothecary, right? And with any luck,
Sure, and there's a lot
find
of
feet.
coppers and potions down there. So, like, I think that Apothecary draws five, maybe?
Yeah. We looked at both estates already. Duchess, King's Court, Wharf.
I think there's four copper and a potion down there. Like, it worked out. I mean, that's nice, but it definitely
Yeah,
wasn't guaranteed. You could have just had a
they
King's Court Wharf and your Apothecary down there, and then, oh well.
they would have only hit 5, I believe, if they King's Court the Wharf. 4 or 5.
Hmm. Yeah, so interesting mix there. Meanwhile, N.A. Smith has started their turn and is deciding whether to King's Court a Wharf or a Duchess.
And they know that they have a King's Court and another Wharf in those bottom 4, or whatever that's worth.
That is valuable
But
knowledge.
I feel like you're you're racing to be the first one to play King's Court on King's Court here,
So you think
and
they
that'll
might?
put you in.
You think NA Smith might top deck the King's Court here?
I guess not. At least
Yeah.
seems like a thought that you could have there, knowing what you've got.
Oh, skipped another King's Court. Venture, worst card ever.
They knew that one too. They could have undid because they only needed 7 money.
No, no, I mean, the Venture was in the discard. Or the King's Court. I'm just making a joke.
Oh, it actually revealed it. They didn't even need to play the King's Court though. Yeah, so here they can draw both these kings, or they can draw one of these King's Courts, it looks like, but not both. The first apothecary drew 5 cards, so they didn't even have the option to deep deck. It just kind of came and went very
Well, they've
quickly.
got another Apothecary in hand, so you could King's Court, Wharf.
Ah, yeah, so they can top deck the King's Court, the
And you
third.
could play both your Wharfs. That's a bit. I don't know if I'd do that, but at the very least, the King's Court allows you to play Wharf and Duchess. So that looks definitely correct to me.
So that would get them to 13 potion, or 15 potion. That would be with 7 copper, silver, 3 Duchess plays.
Mm-hmm.
They would need to buy some more warbs, probably.
Well, you don't have to play that second Wharf.
That's true. I'm just thinking you could buy like another wharf and then with that much duration draw, be somewhat guaranteed to draw deck the rest of the game.
No? Okay. I mean, this is fine. It all comes to the same thing.
Yeah, they can leave one of their wharfs out of the.
Yeah, if you're not playing that Wharf, it comes to the same thing. But if you're playing it, then you just passed up 4 extra duration cards and 2 extra duration buy for no particular
Yeah.
reason.
So now we see what JNails does if they go for the pirate ship line that chat so desperately wants, or if
Yeah,
they look somewhere else.
Apothecary Pirate Ship. I mean, or you could go. Yeah, I wouldn't have played that Wharf because you feel like you really want a Wharf now. Otherwise, your following turn is gonna be pretty bad. But if you get a Wharf here, I guess you get Wharf Apothecary. But you're not increasing your what you can do. Maybe you get Wharf Duchess. I don't know.
Yeah. Um, this was their maximum payload, right? 15 and the potion.
Yeah, so I think you want to
Um,
increase your payload.
yeah, so if you can King's Court a wharf next turn, and then King's Court both the Duchesses, you're increasing payload.
Yeah, so I think if you don't play that Wharf, then there are lines where getting Pirate Ship um, seems economical. But now I just really want another Wharf for next turn.
And what JNails doesn't know is that Naismith, well, they may still collide King's Court, King's Court. We'll have to see what they draw if they've got three duration worth plays coming in. So they're fairly likely to have a big turn. The advantage to pirate ship is if your opponent, your opponent's not paying that much attention or does, if their payload is mostly treasures and you play King's Court, pirate ship, all of a sudden you've trashed, you know, 4 or 5 cards from their deck, and then the next turn you've trashed the rest of their treasures. And they've got the one Duchess as payload, and they're going to spend a couple turns buying their own Duchess and pirate ship and stuff.
Yeah,
Um,
I think the transition to Pirate Ship has merit.
And I guess the other thing is, yeah, if you get your pirate ship up to 8 or 7, and you've got King's Court, Wharf, pirate ship, all of a sudden you're buying 6
Yeah,
provinces, something like that.
you're unbounded with buy, and so like Pirate Ship is definitely the best payload eventually. and uh, but could the pile pressure be too significant?
With the third pile being just estates or duchesses or something.
Yeah, duchesses with like throwing a duchy or two for points if you need it. So the buys were ultimately two wharves, a duchess, and an apothecary. Okay.
Feels perhaps like one morph too many, but
Yeah.
um, it's always slightly awkward to be buying coppers. But yeah,
Because
in theory,
JNails,
JNails. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, has a King's Court. Oh, I missed the copper buy. JNails has a King's Court. Excuse me, two King's Courts in deck, right? Because one of them is set aside or
Yeah.
in duration. Words, sorry. So
So
nasmith definitely has enough King's Courts.
and they have enough duration draw next turn.
Very much enough. So I think this could be a pretty good time to go for the pirate ships.
Yeah, Pirate Ship's a pretty interesting card. Sort of when you first see it, you think, oh my gosh, this is so powerful, I'm going to wreck my opponent's deck. And you play with it a while and you're like, it seems like it's helping their engine more than it's helping your payload. But what we see with Naismith and JNails is they realize when Pirate Ship and Duchess are good cards. Often I will find myself ignoring Pirate Ship because it's usually not very good.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like King's Court that makes you reconsider all of your treasure, or excuse me, your action payload options. you know?
Yeah. And this is a good illustration of, JNails bought apothecaries, so you've got at least a cantrip kind of thing you can King's Court. Naismith doesn't have any cantrips at all, nothing in their deck since plus action. They're able to draw a deck and build an engine up.
Yeah, they need to chain their King's Courts together, but that seems trivial with all the duration draw they have. Like 12 duration draw, right?
Yeah.
And then three King's Courts. So that can triplicate five actions. So that's going to be a wharf, a duchess, and whatever they buy this turn. So it could be double pirate ship wharf. Seems reasonable. Or
Yeah, I would.
they could go for just duchess, like lots of duchesses and a king's court. Like to try. Okay, if you don't get pirate ship, it's because you're saying I'm going to end the game next turn. I think.
Yeah, Naismith will have 16 cards in deck with 3 cards in duration land. So they will start the turn by drawing either with their 5 cards plus an additional 12. So they are starting turn by drawing, deck, minus, maybe 1 or 2 things that they buy this turn.
And they're going to have 7 buys to start their turn.
Yeah.
So what if you bought that? Now you threatened. Do you threaten to end the game? I think you do. I think you threaten to end the game next turn. How many
It
duchesses? That
certainly
was
seems.
3. So 4 total duchesses in the deck, right? And if those are triplicated, that's going to be 24 money, if I've done my counting right. 32 with the treasures.
It doesn't seem like
That's not quite enough.
quite enough,
Yeah.
but it also somewhat puts a limit at what JNails can do here. JNails can't, for example, buy like another King's Court. Otherwise, that line becomes possible. Or JNails may need to look to add some victory points to their deck this turn.
think it's 32. Oh, we're saying. Okay. Just trying to follow the chat. So,
Yeah, the JNails is thinking about what they're going to do next. If that's King's Court, play 3 Warbs and then play 3 Duchesses, and what they're going to do with the rest of this turn, or if they're going to, for example, King's Court Apothecary and then King's Court Duchess, and then just play the 2 Warbs without King's Court, which seems a little bit risky.
neither player can end the game on their turn. I guess it's time to start greening, I would think. As JNails, I don't know how much you can lower. You don't really need any more wharves. So maybe you find out you can like get 1 or 2 extra duchesses or something, and then get some green cards.
Yeah, and if we've got King's Courted Warbs coming into play, then we can feel fairly good about buying Duchy, taking Duchesses with 1 or several of our buys. Certainly, Naismith having 2 more King's Courts is quite nice.
So Halo Andy asks if a masterpiece might be purchased. And I suppose if you king enough wharves, that doesn't seem. I mean, that could present some value. Now, ordinarily, you'd prefer to just add king's courts and duchesses, but if that risks a pile out. Oh, you know what? JNails can lower piles a little more if he does buy like a defensive province. So that's another thing to consider.
Yeah, and assuming JNails has stopped and counted the maximum payload that Naismith has, which can be a little tricky with all these King's Courts and all these draws. But
so which play of Apothecary is this? This is the third play. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, and the bottom card of the deck is a Duchess.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
So we did know that because they discarded it to Naismith's Duchess earlier. So JNails knew that there was copper Duchess in the discard pile.
Well, then I don't particularly like that play. I guess the challenge was you didn't have any plus actions. So you needed to play Apothecary. Yeah, I guess there's another alternative. Oh, that's too bad. And so here the question is, do you King's Court a wharf and have a better next turn, but at the cost of 1 of your King's Courts?
It doesn't look like JNails is going to, given that they're discarding stuff from their deck. Or maybe it doesn't matter whether they discard it or not.
So it's going to be
JNails did top deck like all of their coppers, which could have been distributed more evenly and given them a.
So 18 coins and a potion is what JNails has to work with.
Yeah.
I think I would strongly consider King's Court Duchess Province. It's not ideal, but because then I think N.A. Smith gets like 2 provinces and puts you in a tough spot.
Yeah, how much is Fairgrounds worth? Naismith, if Naismith, Fairgrounds is 6 anyways. It's more expensive than Duchy. So if Naismith does have 32, then that line is safe by 1 coin because there's no way for Naismith to empty the piles and Duchy to make up for the VP lead. Duchy comes with Duchesses. So you can buy a Duchy to gain the Duchess. So the pile out is cheaper than 30. Well, yeah.
I
The pile
missed
out with
the
Duchy only
arena
costs 3
points
more.
split there, but yeah, NA Smith, due to that early Duchess, was able to amass 4 out of the 12 arena points.
Yeah. So in which case, I think King's Court Duchess Province is not safe.
Oh well.
But
Mm.
you know, I
I
I
guess,
assume we're going to duration draw this wharf, right? We need draw next turn.
yeah, I guess just double Province Duchess would be what I do then.
Yeah, make Naismith start adding green cards to the deck. And
I don't think you can threaten 4 though, so NA Smith can comfortably take 2 green cards, or 2 provinces in particular, on their turn. So JNails is just in a real tough spot. It would have definitely been nice to have a little more money.
yeah, and I think we're looking at all of JNails' unique cards. I think they have, what is this, eight unique cards in deck. The 6 that are in the hand plus King's Court and Duchess, so they're not particularly close on Fairgrounds. I mean, I guess we can add Province and start going into Fairgrounds as well.
I don't think Fairgrounds
For 4, but
is ever relevant here, just because, I mean, it's just too easy for NA Smith to empty or virtually empty provinces over 2 turns.
yeah, and if we calculate they have 32, that's 4 provinces that they can do currently. So
Yeah.
They could even
And you
somewhat
can
comfortably
probably get like, yeah, 3 provinces, or I don't even, whatever the case, like, it's just very easy for NA Smith to get all the provinces way before Fairgrounds would ever like pay off for JNails.
yeah. So JNails needs to count, and if they're counting the same way that we counted, that Naismith has 32 money, and what the pileouts can be. If they saw the Duchy gaining Duchess thing, um, double province seems like it's necessary here, because there's really not a good way to build without King's Courts and Duchesses. It feels a bit too late for Pirate Ship, I think.
Yep.
Especially with Naismith has 4 Duchesses to King's Court.
Yeah. It just helps NA Smith now. If like whatever pirate ships you play on your next turn.
I don't think JNails has enough King's Courts for something like Province, Double Duchy, Double Duchess. That may not be safe anyways, but if they had another King's Court, then they could reliably King's Court all of the Duchesses. But as it is, they're having trouble King's Courting both Duchesses.
Yep, but you can't safely lower King's Courts.
Yep. In terms of Masterpiece, I think JNails just barely drew this turn. I mean, I guess they overdrew by. Okay, they overdrew by 4 cards this turn.
But it's critically important that they see King's Court, King's Court. Like, there's no wiggle room there.
Yeah. And with a couple of apothecaries and Citygate, you have a little bit of room. But if you Masterpiece for like 8 silvers here or something, it just seems pretty tough to draw.
Well, you'd Masterpiece
And
for
it
7.
increases your.
But yeah.
Yeah, Masterpiece for 7 by province, right?
Yeah,
okay, something like that.
I think I prefer double province Duchess. Like, if you can King's Court that Duchess, then that's already 6 coins.
Even that only adds 15 coins to your overall payload.
Which is definitely something.
About,
but yeah.
Yeah, you're about 15 coins behind, it looks like, in terms of, Naismith's got 32. That would put JNails at 33. Although if they could King's Court both Duchesses, that would put it at 37.
I mean, potentially they can King's Court 3 Duchesses. It's just, then that means they'd be playing 0 wharfs, so they're probably not going to do that. I guess an extra Duchess really doesn't do much because of the King's Court situation, right? Maybe the Masterpiece is the way then. The Duchess doesn't accomplish much. I hadn't thought about that. Like, because you have King's Court, you need to target like either Apothecary or Wharf with one of those King's Court plays, and then two Duchesses with the others.
Yeah, so to bring up what Chad is talking about, given that JNails has 4 apothecaries, is any number of coppers reasonable to buy here? It seems tough.
Right.
And as we saw this turn, they drew all the coppers in the top half of the deck too. But
Yeah. It's
with best
just
case, the apothecary is drawing those extra coppers for free, and you know,
it's
no such thing as
really
a free lunch. But
it's really awkward for JNails having only two King's Courts that they can play each turn. That's just really awkward.
yeah, and they had bought a 4th King's Court, but they undid that buy to add more payload. It looks like.
It was to add a double Wharf and then some Duchesses, I think. But that was one Wharf more than you needed. Probably.
Yeah, really tough spot here for JNails.
Is King's Court safe? I don't think so. Because 22 coins to empty King's Courts and Wharves, and then another 8. Yeah, that's just 30 coins to empty all the rest. So King's Court is not safe. Wharf is not safe. Not that there's any reason for JNails to get a Wharf. King's Court Province might be safe.
30. Yeah, if Nasmith can get to 33, they can beat that. But if they're at 32, like we thought, then they cannot beat that.
But the extra King's Court doesn't do it a whole lot if you can't get an extra Duchess to go along with it. Maybe it's valuable if you're adding a bunch of coppers. Maybe that's the idea.
And you King's Court, planning King's Courting an apothecary.
Lots of apothecaries. You have 4 of them. Like you can King's Court as many apothecaries as you want. You ideally want to end with King's Courting 2 Duchesses, but
yeah, so certainly we need to add a province here.
For sure.
And then apothecary, and then some number of coppers. And I really like. I'm sure there is math that can be done to identify what the number of coppers is, but it seems really, really tough to do in the moment.
Well, and it all depends on how well the apothecaries draw, and whether how quickly you see King's Court, King's Court. You're gonna have 8 duration cards drawn, and then an extra card to scout with City Gate. You really hope you find King's Court, Apothecary in there, but there's no way to guarantee that.
Yeah. So you could in theory buy province apothecary at 6 coppers. It just seems like a lot of coppers to me.
Yeah, gaining Duchess here. I think this is losing. Oh no, that sets up a tie, right?
Yeah.
Ah, that got up to an extra unique with the fairgrounds. Okay.
22, 26, 31. So 31 and 8 buys for a tie here, I believe.
Yeah. I forget. No, NA Smith only needs 3 wins, so NA Smith doesn't want a tie. And NA Smith doesn't need a tie, in my opinion.
Yeah, because they can just buy like 3 provinces here and feel pretty good.
I think you can buy 2 provinces and get a little extra stuff. But I'd have to count that out.
Well, JNails found the stuff. With the 6 copper buys.
JNails really wants to see another King's Court in those next 9 cards. Oh, it's on top? I got it.
It's on top.
Got it. Don't discard that, JNails. That's important. Yeah, that's interesting. So NA Smith knows that information, right? Or is that public or not? You don't reveal it, do you? Oh,
No,
huh. So we
not
know.
revealed.
JNails knows, but NA Smith doesn't know. Interesting. NA Smith's
They can
still
feel
with an
fairly
extra King's Court.
comfortable that it's a king's court, though, given that JNails didn't discard it. I discarded almost every other card in my deck, I think.
Yeah. Not Apothecary if you don't have one in hand.
Yes, the tie is buying King's Court, 3 Wharves, 2 Duchesses, and a Duchy, which costs 31, which is all the money except for 1, which they can't do anything with. Or they could just buy um, double province, something. I
Like
mean, I
that.
think triple province is safe.
Oh,
I'm not worried
absolutely,
about JNails
absolutely. Yeah,
buying 5, so triple province, and then figure out if you need to add something else with the other.
yeah. You definitely have less duration draw this turn. So does that mean you would want to add another King's Court? Want to add another Wharf? I agree. Triple Province seems pretty solid. I don't think there's a way to actually get 8 provinces over 2 turns, which is annoying. But if you get like triple province and a King's Court, you make it really easy on yourself to pile out next turn, right?
Yeah.
Because it costs 30 to get the 3 Wharves and 3 Duchies to get 3 Duchesses, right? So that's a 9 point play, and you can empty the remaining 2 piles.
Yeah. So Naismith overdrew by 3 this turn. With looks like they overdrew by 3. So they will only have 1 duration Wharf coming in next turn. So it will be somewhat important for them as well to find the King's Court Wharf, although will have 4 King's Courts and 2 Wharves in the deck,
Yeah.
which leads me possibly to want to add another Wharf here.
Yeah, I don't know. What's better for reliability, King's Court or Wharf? I don't know. It's a tough one.
Yeah, because if you only find a single King's Court and Wharf, then you can't kick off either.
Yeah, NA Smith's like deck is more brittle. He just has more stuff.
Yeah, funny for the deck that has um, 7 fewer coppers is more brittle.
Yeah, I mean, no opinion on whether that is true after those copper buys. In practice, is a great draw for JNails, but
Looks like they're going to take the tie as second player.
I am very shocked by that. I just feel very comfortable in my position as NA Smith there.
Yeah, just buying three provinces and a King's Court, and then pretty likely to draw deck and buy 4 provinces next turn. Pile out.
Oh, I have not been updating the score. Allow me to do that. It's
We'll be right back.
1.5 for NA Smith and 0.5 for JNails. I am shocked by that outcome. All right. This kingdom has the it's got captain, and steward is a pretty good target. Not an amazing target, but pretty good. There's also Ironworks Island. There's Young Witch. What's the bane? Steward. That's a pretty bad Young Witch. It's a pretty bad overlord.
So it looks like you can build a much more traditional draw engine.
Yeah, the payload is on the weak side because there's no plus buy except for the idle boon or a gift. But there's Ironworks Island, so you can at least get, 10 VP or more that way in a turn.
Yeah, and there's the Rural Blacksmith Counting House combination. If either player wants to go for that. I don't
Yeah.
suspect we'll see it,
With
but
these strong villages, yep.
yeah.
You can add Captain as Oasis for even more synergy.
Yeah, certainly. I think I like the double Steward opening here. I could be convinced of Steward Ironworks as well.
Yeah, I don't know.
With delay, colliding Stewards turn 3 or 4 is pretty nice, so you can trash 2 and just delay the other Steward. But
Yeah, in particular on turn 3, that's very nice.
Ironworks is also a really nice card here with the synergy with Island because you gain +1 card, +1 action, +2 VP. Although then you still have to deal with the islands in your deck.
Yeah. I think I agree with double Steward. I think delay is the seals the deal for me. But N.A. Smith picks up Ironworks and immediately gets punished for it. I mean, not because of any action he took, but the Dominion gods nevertheless decided to
They're very
punish.
fickle sometimes.
Yeah. I wonder if.
And yeah, JNails gets the quite nice version of that.
Yeah.
Do you think we see Captain here as JNails?
Can you can't do that with drawing. It'd be more attractive if you could. Looks like we are.
Yeah, certainly captains are quite nice to have in the deck. And Naismith gets another Ironworks, so I guess they're going pretty hard for this Ironworks Island stuff.
Seems weird to me. I would not have expected a second Ironworks, but yeah, that's the only explanation I have. Is you're going really heavy for islands.
It just seems like you're giving up a pretty goodly amount of deck control.
We got a third Ironworks for N.A. Smith. What am I missing?
They're gonna get 16 points from the islands, and then end of the game on a third pile somewhere. Is what it looks like.
Well, we'll see how it works out.
Just JNails is going to be all the way thin here and going to be able to add a couple stewards and get provinces pretty quickly.
I'm surprised by that Overlord buy from JNails. I don't really like that. Maybe it's fine.
Yeah, what are we're playing the Overlord as Ironworks or Steward? I guess you could play the Shantytown in a pinch.
Oh, you're obviously playing it as Counting House.
Yeah, it's just too strong as Counting House.
I mean, of course, only if you get it in an opportune part in the shuffle. That's the whole value.
Yeah. Of course, JNails is going to be thin of coppers fairly soon.
Just have to buy more. Or Ironworks gain the coppers. You get an extra coin for doing that.
Yeah. So JNails can Ironworks here for an island. Or they can just gain an Ironworks.
Why? I'm so confused. I want to play with exactly one Ironworks or 0 if I'm in JNails position because I have Captain and Overlord that can be played as Ironworks. I don't. Hmm. This is just so baffling. I think 0 provinces are going to be bought this game, which just seems super wrong to me.
Yes, JNails is, essentially drawing deck this turn. They can pick up another couple pieces, and looks like they're very close to provincing already. And how does that Ironworks Rush catch up to the person with 3 provinces?
Well, JNails bought an Ironwork or gained an Ironworks, so I'm not confident that province is their game plan.
Yeah, they're just doing the delayed island games.
I still don't know what the third file is, but yeah, maybe. So if you play something non-terminal here as captain, then you can play the Overlord as Shantytown to draw.
Yeah, I mean, you could play the captain as Ironworks and gain an island.
Well, I guess if you're
Uh,
doing that, you kind of draw anyway. Maybe, potentially.
and then you can play the other Ironworks to gain something, then trash 2 coppers, and then draw with James on.
But you have a steward down there, so if you see your steward from these cards you draw gaining island, then you can't
Yeah.
play your Overlord as a Shantytown.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you can, but it doesn't do anything.
I think certainly I want to prioritize trashing here. It looks like JNails did not draw the other steward, so they can trash some coppers here, gain something with an Ironworks, and then
It could
play
trash
Overlord.
literally everything, right?
Yep, they can trash 2 coppers, play Ironworks to gain something, play Overlord's Shantytown, and then trash the last copper that they had in hand, as well as the copper in deck.
I don't know if that's good, but they can do it. They have the power, the capability. I guess the Ironworks could gain a Shantytown? You kind of need it next turn.
Yeah, they kind of also want to try to get out of debt, but I'm not really seeing how that happens.
Alright, I guess we're not drawing with Overlord as Shantytown.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what the plan is here for JNails. They have a lot fewer Ironworks, but they have the captain and they have a much thinner deck. It seems like it's advantageous for them for the game to go longer, which means not gaining a whole bunch of islands here.
Alright, how's this for a play? That can't happen anymore. Suppose, rewind that steward play. You Ironworks for Shantytown, trash 2 cards, Overlord is Shantytown, Steward, trash 2 cards, buy a Royal Blacksmith.
Except that their deck is only actions. Their deck would only have like 8 cards in it, I think.
That's okay. Like, you can
Yeah.
use the stewards as coins. You eventually have to get
Yep.
out of debt, and that's not, trivial, but. And you have the
Yeah.
Ironworks, you can get even more stuff that
I don't
you'll have
actually
trouble
think
playing.
they could afford. I don't think they could afford to get out of debt with that line.
What? They have.
They had 5 debt that turn to repay.
Oh, I missed that. I see. Never mind. Ignore my line.
So Naismith is following through on this Ironworks Island
You
stuff.
gotta follow through.
Yeah, and
The question is, what are those Ironworks going to do once islands are empty? That's my question. And what are you going to be using the islands are on? Other islands, I guess.
if you can draw them, or Ironworks, or no cards left in hand after they gain a whole bunch of oases and Shantytowns.
If your deck is nothing but Ironworks, and a shantytown, your shantytown is guaranteed to be able to draw.
And then you can Ironworks gain Ironworks and Shantytown. You can guarantee draw that Shantytown and whatever you gain with the Ironworks if it's an action. It does kind of feel like spinning, though, to be honest.
Oh, hey, N.A. Smith still has an estate. Or
We
two.
we found out what they can play Island on.
So they've got 4 ironworks, and JNails could just take the rest of the islands here.
And then claim that their deck is better suited for actually playing adding provinces.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I would do that. Overlord is ironworks, captain is ironworks.
Yeah, you can even draw with the steward and island away an island this turn. Buy another captain. I believe they have 4 coppers. Yeah, buy another captain.
I don't think you can do all that stuff. They only have 1 action available.
Ah, yep. Oh, we found the Shantytown.
All right, so it looks like JNails is not gaining the remaining islands.
They could still buy an island if they wanted, but
why would you do that when you could instead cantrip gain an island?
good question.
It is the most efficient use of ironworks for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have with this Shantytown drawing steward, Overlord and Captain as island, they can gain down 2 VP, but they're able to set aside an island by captain. They'll have the captain coming into play, an extra captain, and their deck will just be much better. And I'm not really worried about Naismith piling out Ironworks in the States or something. That is just too action limited. So we're going to play this Shantytown and then the Steward for draw in most lines that JNails would be looking at.
What are those bottom 2 cards?
I think they're both coppers. I think JNails has played 4 coppers last turn.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, I guess.
And we don't really want to, end the turn with 2 coppers on top of the deck, but we've got a captain coming into play, so it's not the end of the world.
Oh, right. You have to discard.
Interesting. It looks like they are now going to buy the last island then, the way they played this.
Man, I don't know.
Because they could have discarded a copper, played Shantytown, and 2 coppers.
I sure would have liked to leave 0 islands, yeah.
Which has the same effect as this current, except they've drawn 1 more copper to the top of the deck.
Yeah, I liked your idea of gain all the islands and then buy a captain. That seemed like a pretty good idea.
I still think I like JNL's position down 6 VP, but it's not quite as nice as down 2 VP. But perhaps they'll just buy the last island here.
Okay.
A pretty nice starting hand for Naismith.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm not so sure there's very many good cards left in the rest of the deck, but they have some good cards here. They've got um, mostly just ironworks and islands and coppers left in the rest of the deck, I think.
Guess you can use Overlord as Shantytown to enable the other Shantytown, I think. That's not looking. Whoa! Okay, that's another way to activate the Shantytown. Hey, and you got an island
Yeah.
too. Not bad.
Now do they just say I'm going to end this game as fast as I can, buy an ironworks, buy an estate, or do they switch over to building and try to actually make a competitive deck?
How do you do that with 5 ironworks?
Very good question. I'm not sure.
I think you've locked yourself in. Buys an estate, figuring that the ironworks are going to be easier to gain when you have multiple, well, just via ironworks than estates are. I agree with that.
Yeah. We'll see if JNails can find the captain, which they do. Still have two coppers down there, but JNails can concentrate now on building up a little bit of a deck and getting to province next turn. I don't know that Naismith can empty the piles over 2 turns. I think it'll take them at least 3, if not 4.
I think you want to play these islands if you can. Ideally, as JNails, like you probably want to island an island if possible.
Yeah, so play this captain as Oasis, try to find another
I guess.
island, and maybe you just set aside a copper in the worst case.
Yeah.
There is also another shantytown down there. I guess if you draw the shantytown, you can then discard the island. The Oasis.
Yeah, that gives you that option. Nope. We're gonna discard the island, so then we can play Shantytown. Yep, that works too. Okay.
And
That
I
makes
assume this will just be
sense.
another captain.
Or a, well, JNails wouldn't buy gold, right? That's off brand. But
Yeah.
gold is not a terrible card here. It's just hard to have a really big hand size, so you can't do what? Wait, what?
Canal.
Huh. Was that worth it? I guess now you can gain a 5 cost card with your Ironworks.
You can gain duchies.
I guess. I'd prefer to buy provinces.
Yeah, I also would prefer to buy provinces, but grabbing a bunch of duchies seems somewhat nice as well.
I don't think so, Coplane. I don't think the way that JNails is playing is going to help him hit province.
Assume this will be delay steward.
But hey, now those islands
This
have good targets.
yeah, this seems like it's going to be tough for Naismith to win without gaining any duchies because JNLs can pretty easily gain 2 duchies, right?
It does seem that way.
Assume
I
this first captain plays Ironworks to gain a duchy, and then yeah, we sadly didn't find the captain or the overlord, but the deck has gotten a little bit messy at
man,
this point, so I'm
I
kind of
would
expecting that.
never in 100 years have looked at this kingdom and thought, you know what, 0 provinces. That's the optimal way to play this. Still not convinced of that.
Yeah, so Nathan's got to hit 5 at some point to buy a duchy, right?
Yeah, I mean it's over.
Okay, yeah.
And that was NA Smith's start. An unfortunate turn 3 for sure, but I feel like that was not the way to go. Spamming Ironworks was not the way to go.
This looks like immediately an unfortunate, or for JNails, a fortunate turn 1, potentially. If they go Guardian Altar, which is
Ooh,
something that's, or Guardian Captain as well, but on this kingdom, I think you want to get the Altar first.
Well, I don't know. I think I prefer Captain because, like, Captain as Smithy is going to help you afford more. Like, you don't have a lot of action space to work with. Do you even want Altar?
You're thinking just going Captain as Smithy, and then you can play it as Smithy or Farmer's Market or whatever is needed.
Yeah, mostly Smithy.
Um,
I don't know what else to
yeah,
do in
and
this kingdom.
there was a lot of alt VP here. As chat points out, Duchy Duke, Silk Roads. There's an infinite pile of VP in Farmer's Market
I
with
guess that
captains.
leans towards you want to clear out your starting cards, but Altar can't even gain anything you want. That's what bothers me about it.
Right?
You're
Guess
gonna
you can
gain
just gain
silver off of Altar.
duchies, get an altar, and
No,
just immediately start
no,
getting
don't do
duchies.
that.
Um,
Oh, what a nasty board.
yeah, so we'll see what JNails has in mind. Altar over captain. Capitalism lets you play multiple farmers markets and duchesses, or whatever that's worth. So you could get an early capitalism, and then and if you're going Duchy Duke, just take a bunch of duchesses. Um, doesn't seem super great, but
Yeah, I mean,
it seems like it might be effective enough given that you can't build that big here.
yes. Yeah, maybe that's okay. Okay, thank you, JNails.
Okay, so it does look like JNails is going to go for capitalism. And then you just have you try to get a pair of captains or something, so you can play them as Smithy or whatever, another farmer's market or something.
Okay, that's not expected. Wait, that's doubly not expected.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks like
The
Naismith is just
Duchess,
playing simple big money. JNails is doing something much more complicated.
maybe not much more complicated, but the Duchess implies an intention to go for capitalism at the very least. Not a good draw for that. We'll see. This is probably Duchy with Duchess, but I don't know.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
would have
risk.
considered playing farmers market there as captain, just so you could afford capitalism and not risk drawing the altar dead. Um,
Oh man, what a world! What a weird game.
will we see the turn 5 province from Naismith?
Definitely not. The
It's
question is,
it's at least interesting with Mountain Pass.
you could go big masterpiece.
Yeah, the Mountain Pass stuff is interesting to me because you force JNails to bid something that they don't really want to bid.
Oh,
But
we got an altar here, huh? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm not confident. I know how to play this board, but
yeah,
I keep on getting surprised by. NA Smith has a smithy and an altar in a game with no plus actions. Like that looks like trouble.
and we're seeing here, JNails passed up the chance to capitalism earlier, although they're hitting it now and they're going to have a pretty huge turn here.
Are they? You forget
With
farmers market starts out very weak.
They're gonna have all
It's
these
it's a it's
coins.
a nice turn. Yeah. All
This could
right.
be 3 more farmers markets
So N.A. Smith gets the first duchy.
or 2 duchies, 2 duchesses.
Hold on, I'm having a crisis here. Has a single province been bought this entire match?
That's a good question.
I forget the first game, but the second game, rebuild into province. So a province has never been bought this entire match.
Yeah, this is A League Dominion, Akuchi.
Oh my gosh. I disagree as strongly as it is possible to disagree with the lack of province buying in games 2 and 3. So, anyways, players are
JNails had a
contesting
second
duchies.
captain leading them with 2 captains and an altar, and a deck that really doesn't seem like it can support that many terminals.
Sure can't.
I think I would have preferred Duchy Duchess there.
Oh my gosh. What is this? Oh no.
Yeah, Naismith just has the one smith. I guess they have a smithy and an altar, like a much simpler deck without the captains. And they're currently have got a decent sized lead going, although JNails has a lot more plus buy.
And the only one with farmers markets, right, is JNails? No, I'm definitely that can't be correct. I see there are 8 farmers markets gained, but JNails has most of them. I just haven't
Yeah,
seen N.A. Smith play any. Good Duchess gets rid of that Guardian.
yeah. I assume this is just double duchy
I mean, this
and
is about to
then
3 pile.
estate.
Do you get a Duke here?
Duke Duchess.
I guess
So
you can
you don't
take the
get.
Duchy safely if you don't take the Duchess.
We have not seen. Um, we have not seen Naismith's altar yet this shuffle, I believe.
That's bold. I guess it's a VP advantage though. So. Oh right, JNails got VP from one of those farmers markets, so that's nice.
Yeah,
Wait, does
I think
JNails
that
have
will
all
end
the
up.
farmers markets? I'm so confused.
They have a lot of them, and this looks like it's going to be a pile out here for JNails, if I'm counting correctly. 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 4.
That's some fast math, but I expect this is a pile out as well.
Yeah, so 2 farmers markets. Duke looks
Yep, that'll do it.
doable here. Um, so with this result, JNails will have 2.5. Naismith's 1.5,
Yeah, I count 15 coins, so I don't know what
and
the holdup
JNails will
is.
be on the doorstep here.
Yeah, really weird tie to take in game 2.
Yeah, and just for people not paying, buy the Duke first. Just double check that you counted that your number of Dukes correct, and then buy the last 2 farmers markets, which
And
JNails did.
then buy an estate for fun to maximize points. Which JNails
Yeah,
did not do. Big mistake. We'll see if it costs him down the line.
yeah. That was a quite nice 2-5 split there. And we just jump right into game
Hey, it
5.
looks more like a more conventional game finally.
Except we have Way of the Doctor and Cursed Gold.
Normal stuff. Can
Um,
anybody get a forge? Looks like no, right? 3-6 splits.
yeah,
And they can't get a big banish either. That's sad. None of the fun stuff in the opening. These opening splits are maximally bad, I'd say.
yeah. I would certainly much rather have Cursed Gold, Copper, and 3 estates to start with.
And like being able to buy a 4 cost without playing Cursed Gold would also be nice. Exorcist happens to be pretty good.
Yeah, and you'll probably have some ducats in your deck for wisps, and then you've got the cursed gold you can turn into an imp if you'd like.
But yeah, none of that's happening. Instead, what? Double Enchantress? I don't know. Like you can play
Yeah,
them as Doctor if it
Enchantress
seems like that'll be
Warehouse.
useful. Yeah, maybe. Oh, and 6/3 would also be better because you could. Well, you can't buy Doctor. Never mind. Forget
And
that.
banishing 2 coppers feels not worth it.
Very not worth. Taking a
Passing up a bind,
curse,
getting a
taking a
curse. Yeah.
curse to banish 2 coppers, bad deal.
Just going through all the possible
NA Smith got a
permutations here.
silver, which I didn't expect, which makes me think maybe they will get a Puka. Puka is pretty good with banish. Um,
Yeah, and one of the Puka tends to get worse throughout the game, but you can always forge it or exercise it, or
yeah.
you will have extra buys with ducats and council rooms and stuff potentially, so you'll have coppers sitting around later in the game.
So yeah, Exorcist and Banish can both clean up like the cards that Puka doesn't trash. So not the worst Puka open board out there. I don't think that would be my instinct on the 3/6, but I can definitely see it working out.
Yeah, Puka's often troublesome because you're buying it with a curse, and so your deck has got the cursed gold and 3 estates and a curse in it, and all of a sudden you very quickly start to run out of targets for Puka to find. Or you have some very sad draws, but with you know Warehouse and Enchantress, I think Puka makes some good sense here. Um, and if somehow it gets enchanted by your opponent's Enchantress, you can still play it as Doctor with Way of the Mouse.
Oh yeah, interesting.
That was one of my favorite server updates. Was when the card art showed up with the pig when your card was enchanted. We'll see if JNails opts to get a curse here and get their own Puka, or if they go for another Enchantress, as you suggested, Warehouse, or something that we're not thinking of.
All right, so we got some pretty different openings. The double Enchantress line, which is the one I was thinking of for JNails, and a silver Puka taking a curse for NA Smith. 5 here could be Lost City, could be Exorcist.
Yeah, the Lost City is a little bit, it greatly increases the chances that your opponent can do some damage tricks this shuffle. Not greatly, but does increase the chances that they can do some more tricks.
But it's like definitely a card you want to play with, right?
Yeah,
In
for
this
sure.
game, and I don't think the benefit is necessarily higher now than it would be in the mid game.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Especially with the way that JNails opened, you're not like gonna set up a huge banish, for instance. Whereas that would be more of a threat in the other direction.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think, I can see JNail's hand, of course, but
Ooh,
I certainly did like to
I
draw
did
another
not
card.
expect the council room. I think I see this. I've heard this talked about. So, because N.A. Smith assumed that they were going to see Puka this hand, they know that they're going to trigger a shuffle. And so, adding a terminal into that shuffle is considered a good thing to do. Did I get that
And they
right?
are able to trigger a shuffle here with Doctor Play. And I believe they have 2 estates in the bottom 3.
Wait, isn't N.A. Smith just going to play that Puka?
Oh, it's an Enchantress.
Oh. Well, never mind. That
Oh,
council
right, that
room
doesn't
looks pretty bad
trigger the
then.
shuffle. Yeah, and I mean, you assume when your opponent opens double enchantress, you're going to be enchanted pretty quickly.
Well, then I don't understand the council room. Nice to get the 2 estate trash, though, with the Puka Doctor. But yeah, there's going to be terminal collision in those bottom 8 cards.
Yeah, and a little bit awkward. If you had one more copper or one more estate in this hand, you'd very much consider banishing, but you kind of
Yeah.
don't want to do either here. I don't know if you just suck it up, get an exorcist, banish 2 estates.
Yeah. That is definitely not an ideal assortment of cards.
Although it is probably the most likely, if you run all the different permutations, probably the most likely permutation of cards. But they get the exorcist. Again, the exorcist is slightly awkward here too because of the banish.
I think you probably don't end up banishing if you play with Exorcist. But yeah, they compete against each other. Oh, well. Okay, maybe the double terminal thought. I don't know. I don't know what NA Smith was thinking buying that council room.
They just assume they're always gonna see.
I can only guess.
Enchantress. So now they can pick up their own exorcist if they'd like, or just commit to.
I think Lost City is
Yeah,
something you have to do. Now you have like too much draw though. If you see everything, it's kind of weird.
But only one village, and you got to hope to see that.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's still the council room is still curious.
Yeah, because we draw it and don't end up getting
And
to play it.
don't play it, yeah.
And I assume you just get another Lost City here.
Okay, how are you? What is your payload in this game? It's just money, right?
Yeah, I mean, I assume you've got maybe a couple ducats, but silver and golds.
Okay.
And I don't know what JNails does if they just pass turn here. I mean, I guess they could banish two curses is better than passing turn.
Is it though? You gain a curse from it, so you're removing a curse from your deck at the cost of like some amount of negative VP, depending on how you want to think about it. Either 1 or 2. Probably worth,
Yeah.
but it's not super obvious.
Yeah, and especially with Warehouse later, you can play a Warehouse near the end of your turn and play something as Doctor to trash all the curses. I just bought a second Exorcist.
That is one of JNails' favorite cards.
JNL is, of course, a big fan of all the Knight cards.
Well, definitely at least 2 of them.
Yeah.
Another council room. There's going to be like this turn. NA Smith is going to have like tons of overdraw. But I suppose you can play one of them as Doctor at that point. And you have a warehouse to set that up. Okay. I'm starting to see. Starting to believe.
Yeah, so they could play the Warehouse here.
And discard 2 curses.
They should have played the Lost City.
No, here you can discard Lost City 2 curses. And then trash 2 curses. Yeah, I like it.
That's quite nice.
Okay. It's all coming together.
And they just keep gaining curses now too, right? There's no need for them
to. Probably.
Like the curses seem like they're gonna run, and that curse gold seems like a fine source of payload.
Well, what does it get you? Like the question is, what are you buying this turn, and what does the curse gold get you? I feel like it just gets you an extra silver, so I don't know if that's worth it. Maybe. Like, do you just buy gold here?
Yeah, I'm still somewhat interested in Exorcist, but maybe that's
Oh, I'm rooting for NA Smith to not get Exorcist and to beat JNails. Oh, sorry, I'm not supposed to. I'm supposed to be impartial. Sorry.
yeah. I'm rooting for JNails to magically somehow draw deck next turn. Although that does not seem super likely given the starting five.
Yeah, I'm wondering about Forge. That was mentioned. Like the thing that holds me back is it would be nice to forge like Curse Gold and Estate, right? But the trouble there is, you, Curse Gold is actually kind of good once the curse is run.
Yeah, and then all you've got left is one estate and your forge, and you can maybe forge gold estate into province later or something. But
Yeah. So yeah, it was a gold enchantress play, which I like. Playing with a pair of enchantresses as NA Smith sounds like a really nice way to shore up your deck and get some more consistency and just cruise into the win.
yeah, for sure.
Is this the game? Are we finally gonna see some provinces spot? Kind of awkward
I
here.
can't imagine not buying provinces here, but
There could be a resign. We don't know.
that's fair. If JNails doesn't find a lost city next turn, it's going to be quite sad.
Yeah, so a little bit of an unfortunate draw for NA Smith. Their second lost city was bottom decked, but still a pretty good spot to be.
Yeah, and the two exorcists are going to somewhat pay off here for JNails. At least they're going to be able to trash most of those curses and
Yeah, big
gain some
turn.
wisps.
Got the Enchantress down.
They just feel perhaps 2 turns behind.
I do have a ducat, so they're not plus buy constrained, which is good. What do you get here as JNails? As me,
I,
I would get a gold, but I don't know what I'd do as JNails. I'd get a potion and a silver. Okay. Scrying pools in this kingdom. Did you know that? I actually hadn't noticed.
I mean, my eyes saw it for whatever that's worth.
I hadn't noticed it the entire game.
It just doesn't. Yeah, it seems like they're drawing deck without it.
Yeah,
And it's weird to add scrying pools after you've drawn deck.
yeah. And your payload isn't necessarily treasures.
Yeah. So Naismith can do the same trick here. Um, Trash a curse. Actually, that's smart. Trash the estate now because you'll have two
Right, because
curses
you'll
next
have
turn.
two curses. Yep.
As soon as I said trash a curse, he did the opposite thing, and that like those are really subtle things that are really easy to miss
Yeah,
in
smart
Dominion.
optimization.
Um, and assuming JNails takes a curse this next turn, although we'll see, given their hand, then the curse gold is just a regular gold.
Yeah, I mean, if you get two golds here, then you can just start double provincing. That's definitely a line I would consider.
Yeah, I'm somewhat. I guess you have the counselor room, so you do have another source of plus behind the deck. You're just not using it currently.
Yeah, I don't
Um,
even think. I think you could play. I mean, you have. Neither council room is played here, so you actually have four buys in the deck.
yeah, and the puka will get turned off soon. Um,
Yeah, and you
Once these
hope to
last
see
two
it in your
coppers
starting
go.
hand, and maybe you can even set that up with a discard. Like, yeah, there's lots of stuff there, but
Yeah, so Gold Lost City seems pretty nice.
I think you can double gold safely. Well, yeah, I think you can do it. That is indeed what NA Smith does. Oh man, NA Smith
JNails,
skips Exorcist, buys gold, wins. Oh, that'll be JNails' nightmare.
yeah, I mean, and JNails is going to have to buy some golds here soon because they don't have very much money in the deck.
Well, at the very least, he'll have to buy silver or gold. Yes.
potion, yeah, doesn't make much sense to me, but given that they've got 5 potion here and their opponent's about to start double provincing.
It was a rough spot to be in. Perhaps a foreseeable consequence of the double enchantress opening. That was my instinct. I thought it was good, but it made it real tough to actually hit price points on that second shuffle, even like getting an exorcist in the shuffle.
Yeah, I feel like JNails had a little bit optimal draws, but um, possibly the double enchantress doesn't optimize
Yeah,
that potential.
I think the game looks a lot different if you like can afford an exorcist on turn 3 or 4 and actually pair it with a state on turn 5 or 6 or something like.
Yeah.
All right. I feel so much more comfortable now.
The notably Naismith removed 2 curses and a copper from that hand from that deck and added 2 provinces. Their deck is actually better this turn than it was last turn. They do have only 1 copper left, so the Puka will get turned off, but
Yeah.
they and they may not even want to trash that last copper to get to double province, save up coffers.
Yeah, that's accurate. This
And
could
this is
be
the
a
turn, I think.
dud, right? Well, we'll see what NA Smith
Enchantress
draws.
coming in. But yeah.
All right, we got some Forge aspirations here from JNails.
Yeah, the 2 exorcists aren't that good anymore, so the Forge can turn them into a province, certainly.
Yeah, I think I'd keep the copper probably, right?
Yeah, the ability to, well, yeah, they actually are only at 15 money if they get rid of that copper.
All right. Didn't happen. I guess all right, how about province banish 2 provinces in silver here?
Yeah, that seems pretty reasonable. Save a copper. You can, well, yeah, the alternative is to warehouse. You can't do the doctor trick anymore. So you could discard Boss City in 2 provinces and then doctor trash them, but that's probably not a good idea.
Nah. Yeah, no
You can also go
enchantress in
province
play here.
banish Ducket. I'm not sure if that's any better. That seems worse.
Yeah, silver's nice because then you can just like store up
Yep, you
some
called it.
coffers. It's like I understand the game when provinces are being bought, and otherwise I'm clueless.
So this is the turn where JNails no longer has any curses in the deck.
Are we gonna forge both exorcists here? Is that the play? Or I guess maybe potion exorcist?
I gotta think you're buying 1 more. I don't know. Yeah, forge both exorcists into province. And then next turn you can forge silver puka into province. And then potion first gold into province. If there were like 15 provinces in the pile.
Yeah, JNails would have a chance. Maybe.
Yeah. As is, they can get 2 here max this turn, and I'm pretty sure they can only get 2 next turn. And Naismith will have 5, so 5 is greater than 4, and then the game will be over.
5 is like pretty much winning here. It's just too inefficient to get duchies. Like it's not strictly winning, but it's practically winning.
Yeah, especially because you could pause and banish a couple if you need to. Yeah, I assume you forge. There's not really a great target for the Exorcist. You could get a ghost or something, but I'm not really sure what that's doing for
Yeah,
you.
JNails got plenty of draw. That much is true. You could get a gold here. You you could turn Ducat Potion into gold, but then you have no plus buy. So yeah, you can't really do that.
Yeah, so 2 Exorcists into Province seems like
Yeah, I don't
the
see
best
what
thing
else
to
to
do
do.
here.
Yeah,
Play Enchantress and then buy something with your 10 money.
yeah.
Which probably should be gold Ducat, but
Forge costing 7 is a really has a really interesting effect on the game. Like, because you can't, unless there's Poorhouse, you can't like productively, or colonies, you can't productively forge into anything. It's very interesting.
yeah.
Be a much more powerful card if you could.
So here, I assume you just play Enchantress, buy 2 provinces.
Seems good.
And feel pretty safe. Yeah, there wasn't much thinking there from
Yeah, that looks
Naismith.
like a
They were
winning hand for Nasmith.
pretty confident of that.
All right, now it's all comes down to this final deciding game. It's 2.5 to 2.5. A tie or better will do it for Smith.
Yeah, and JNails has first player advantage, so it's a good spot to be.
But with tie on the table, it's not as big of an advantage um, as it usually is.
Yep, and we've got a Cathedral game, which often just means you click Cathedral immediately.
This seems like a click Cathedral kind of game. Yep. There's Bandit for
Um,
additional gains, and also Duplicate and Jester.
Jester,
Yep.
and then Guide as well can help with that.
There's also the potential. You have to kind of choose, I think, between Herald focused or Scholar focused draw. Combining the two, not so good. I think I'd go with Herald just because the plus actions is going to be valuable.
Yeah, and I'm trying to make Nate Smith's 5-2 be good by getting like Jester and you gamble, but then you've just got 6 turn 3. And then you're going to Cathedral on turn 3 with 6. So unless you happen to somehow hit the card that JNails buys turn 3, I think you just kind of have to go Cathedral on turn 1
Well,
with the
can't you
5 points.
gamble Cathedral?
Um, ah, Gamble gives you a plus buy, so you can gamble Cathedral. Okay, that feels a lot better then.
Yeah, I mean you get a 3 coin hand on turn 2, and you have 4 coppers in your turn 3 hand, which isn't amazing, but
Yeah, there
it's
are
not necessarily worse.
also some enablers. Herald, you can see the top card of your deck, you know what you're gambling into.
You can Haven.
If it's Herald will discard it if it's not a. No, Herald will leave it on top. Um, yeah, Bandit can gain you golds, and golds are good in a deck where you're doing a lot of money density.
I mean, if you're playing with Heralds, I think Jesters are probably going to be the payload of choice. Like,
Yeah,
gold doesn't have any special synergy here. In fact, it's worse than usual because there's no plus buy, right? So I would be reluctant to play with Bandit.
yeah. My thinking is it enables you to, you gamble productively. So you gamble and you've now gained a coin. So if you have 7 and you gamble into gold today, you could potentially. But I see what you're saying in terms of it. It is not, very dense in terms of working with the Herald stack that you want to build.
Gotta be silver, right? Nope, it's Guide for N.A. Smith. Interesting.
Because you want to hit 5 fairly quickly, I would say, if you're going to
Maybe.
try to add a Jester.
I guess N.A. Smith is thinking, I'm going to hit 5 anyway. Like,
I
I've
just don't know
trashed
how
I've
you.
trashed 2 estates already.
Right. So you
Well,
play Guide, you trash an estate, and then play Guide to draw the 5.
whoa! So many duplicates. Duplicates? How do you pronounce it, Shanahan?
Depending on which part of speech it is, it could be either.
I asked how
Duplicate
do
is a
you
verb.
pronounce it?
Duplicate is a noun. So the sculptor on the right is duplicating the sculpture on the left,
Mm-hmm.
and the sculpture on the right is called a duplicate.
But the card.
I don't know.
JNails just played a card. What card did they play?
Doublecate. What do you call the person on the card next to duplicate? It's a guide, right? They are a guide. They're not doing guiding. So the duplicates are nice because our deck is thinned out fairly quickly with Cathedral. We want to have lots of cards, but
Ooh, look at that. Look at that. Fully drawn deck as N.A. Smith. Can't buy a 5 cost. Unless they set aside duplicate.
you either take 2 Heralds or a Jester here. I think I want a Jester. Set aside the duplicate.
Yeah. I haven't really. They're playing pretty fast. I'm not entirely sure what led to the situation where JNails has like 2 Havens and 2 duplicates, but here we are.
They bought duplicates on turns 3 and 4, and then drew them together.
And then so couldn't afford
Turn
anything
5.
except Haven.
Yeah, because they didn't want to trash a duplicate. This is also an interesting kingdom where like you play Jester and reveal an opponent's copper, half considering to keep the copper for yourself, to take a copper yourself as another
No,
trashable target.
I wouldn't
Although
do
in
that.
practice, I, I think in the end I decide not to, but I at least think about
Yeah. Here we go, another Haven.
it. Are moats better at some point in terms of
I think so, yeah.
draw?
And also defense. Unfortunately, JNails, despite having 7 cards in their deck, did not see their mode. But it's all good because N.A. Smith did not find their Jester. So
Yeah.
it
And
all
now
works
NASmith's got
out.
to hope to hit some heralds, although they have I think 3 heralds in that bottom cards. So
So JNails, okay, doesn't want to get another silver. Yeah, I mean, plazas should work in generating money with a little overdraw. Problem there is you're discarding the treasures, which Herald won't draw back up. So a little awkward there.
yeah.
Oh
We
no.
are now seeing the full value there of the Jester Herald
See, set aside
stack is
Herald here.
that was a huge sequence of hits there.
Um, I don't know if you actually wanted that other duplicate, but since you can play it this turn, it's all good. Yeah, I mean it's all good. If it like couldn't be played this turn, you might have second thoughts.
Yeah, and there's a question: do you take 3 more heralds, 3 jesters, just province? And feels a touch
Yeah,
early for provincing.
it's an interesting thought. I think it is just I think I'd go with the heralds. Like you have to imagine at some point your jester is going to hit money, or even a plaza, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I think I understand what Nenny Smith's decision here is. If you set aside copper, yeah, you know you have a target for Cathedral. Got it. And maybe you just call guide anyway. No, you don't, because you don't have it on your mat. But all right, I think that was a good call. Setting aside the copper for Nenny Smith.
Yeah, as those are some nice cards. Although you can trash a Haven pretty comfortably at this point in the game.
Yeah.
To answer the chat, yeah, the Naismith won last season. Before that was Recycled Ridge. Before that was Crabcat 2. And the season before that was Naismith. Those are the last 4. So Naismith going for 3 out of the last 5. And 2 in a row here. Naismith also won the Dominion Online World Championship last year. JNails had a deep run and got knocked out in the quarterfinals by 3P.
Research paying off, Shanahan.
Got to use it at some time.
I think
Somewhat
it's
sad set of Herald hits here.
oh for sure. This is uncommonly. Or I didn't actually notice what NA Smith gained last turn.
I think they
A bunch
gained
of
3
plazas.
plazas. So the
Okay,
bottom of the deck is all plazas and heralds.
I think I would have preferred heralds.
Especially with no coppers left in deck. I think we've trashed all of the. There's 1 copper remaining somewhere. Oh, it's in Naismith Haven.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm surprised by the speed at which this game is being played, given that it is the deciding game.
Yeah, and I think there are definitely some non-trivial decisions here. JNails probably wants to have more heralds.
Yeah, they seem like the best card here
Yeah.
for drawing deck.
It's gonna reveal a plaza, right? We think is that bottom card,
I believe so.
which whatever, it's okay.
And I think they can. I think they can know that for sure. I think JNails should know that for sure, given that Naismith certainly would have played a plaza if they had an hand last turn. But you set aside the duplicate. You set aside the silver here. You should probably play the duplicate before you play the jester,
Looks
in
like
case you hit something really good.
Looks like silver's the plan. Yeah, you might as well play the duplicate. Oh yeah. This is actually a kingdom where you're quite happy to gain silvers from Jester. Normally
Yeah,
not the
I mean, you're
case.
pretty happy to just gain whatever random. We didn't play the moat there.
Mm,
We could have drawn that Haven and set aside the silver. We draw the silver and top deck the Haven.
or could have bought a province. I feel like first move around province is pretty important.
Yeah, especially with JNails as first player. If
Yeah.
Naismith starts buying provinces earlier, then
Well,
you
it
know,
doesn't matter because of the tie situation, I guess. The important thing is consistency. As soon as a
yeah,
province is bought, like the other player has to follow. And well, yeah, JNails can
yeah,
only win if they like once provincing starts, either like NA Smith skips a turn or misses like late game or something. I guess then there's
yeah.
Duchy Dancing and then there's duplicates to complicate matters and
And Jester can give out curses,
that. Yep. Although
which is a little bit
Havens
of an advantage
should set them aside.
to Naismith, I guess, in that they're happy to, you know, JNails can't really take the last province up 6 unless they know. I mean, I guess they can Haven a moat every turn for the rest of the game and block the Jesters that way.
Oh, but maybe NA Smith can't even buy province this turn. Depends with his Jester. Well, they have the 2 coffers. I don't know where they came from. Plaza, right? Okay.
Yeah, but
So you got to play Jester here.
they certainly want to add a little bit more money to the deck.
Yeah. Ideally, you reveal a Jester, but nope.
Yeah, I mean now that they're havening moats, it becomes much more difficult. I think Naismith should build one more turn and try to next turn. I'm not quite sure what that means here. They decided to go and force JNails to follow.
Wait, Havening Modes doesn't do anything.
You're right. Havening moats does not do anything.
No, nothing useful.
Saving would do it, but there's no save. So
Yeah.
you can Haven provinces, I guess. which is not really what you want because you want to have a card that you can potentially trash to Cathedral, which in practice is just the Haven, right? But the end game dancing gets interesting. Both players, I believe, have 2 duplicates, so you can consider, getting 3 duchies in a turn as a source of VP, and if your opponent can't
Yep.
get their 2 duplicates down, um, although I imagine, Naismith will just keep the 2 duplicates on the map until the time comes to duchy dance.
Yeah, I think both players have to do that at this point. You can't really afford to skip province. That's my read.
Well, JNails is only hitting 7 here.
That's going to make it hard to buy province.
They have a jester, and but they said okay, they're setting aside 2, and they're going to buy another
Why?
duplicate.
Why set aside the jester instead of the silver? What's the upside to that? Don't you want jester in deck? Well, you only have 1 herald. No, you have more heralds now. Why? Why would you rather have jester in hand than silver?
I do not know. They do have a guide down, which they can call before the jesters come into hand.
Wouldn't you rather discard it? Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, whatever. Well, it is what it is. They have a lot of plus actions one way or another, so it should be fine.
Nate's deck is just barely generating 8 a turn,
Yeah, it's like treading water. Yeah,
and it gets harder once they have to keep trashing things to Cathedral.
yeah, probably trashing a guide here.
Although, decent chance there's 2 modes in JNails decks at some point. There's a reasonable chance that jesters will start to get through.
Speaking of which, no moat in hand for NA Smith, so the jesters are
Yeah.
online for JNails. We'll see what damage they can do.
Yeah, I mean, I think the card you want to hit the most is duplicate or province, right? Those are the cards you want to hit. Although it's not clear to me that hitting province is really that bad because that curse will just get havened and then gives a free trashing target.
Huh. That's interesting to use the duplicate there. I guess you have time.
Yeah, I would be concerned that my jester hits another herald, and then, but I guess that's not a huge
No
deal.
treasure in deck to get coffers from. That hurts. That hurts a lot. Like this would be an easy province, like with all that overdraw and all those plazas.
Yeah. So now you buy a bandit.
Oh no, this
It
is a
seems like
real awkward for JNails.
it seems like bandit is the card you need now to make golds.
That's that's that is a thing you could do.
I don't know what we could buy another.
Looks like mass duchies is the plan.
So they've got 4 duplicates now,
Uh huh.
which could get them up to 5 duchies in a turn, which is a lot of duchies.
Yep.
JNails again covered by a moat. They've got 3 now in a deck of 23 cards.
Always lucky in that respect. Not so much in their jester hitting a treasure that they could discard with their plazas.
Yeah.
Although that would have been extremely rare. Just the 1 silver, I think, for NA Smith.
Yeah, and Naismith misses province here. It looks like. Oh nope, they drew them out, so they'll be able to just barely hit it if they want it. I'm not sure what the alternative is. Take 3 duplicates themselves and try to contest the duchies, or
I don't know. I don't know. It's tough. Like it's so unlikely you're going to hit province again, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you do expect at some point to have moat coverage or to not have moat coverage for JNails and to be able to pick up some extra pieces. But
Now the good news is, nasmith is going to be emptying, or JNails is going to be emptying piles.
yeah, they got to be careful if they
Good
hit
news for
duplicate or
nasmith.
plaza or something. It could be real close to. And Naismith's got duplicates down, so if they reveal one of those cards,
Yeah, there could be a sneaky pile
I
out.
mean, I guess JNails would just take the one, but you got to be a little careful because you reveal two plazas, all of a sudden the plaza pile's empty, and then the duplicate pile is getting low.
Haven's low.
Yeah,
Okay.
and any gain can come in three if needed.
Silver's pretty big. Well, only if JNails actually cares about getting province. I'm not sure about that. You can't catch up on provinces, but you probably need to get at least one province to be able to win. It's tricky.
Yeah, it is.
Haven the Haven. Yeah, I think you do buy province here as JNails.
Just, I mean, I guess at some point you've got what 5 duchies available to you. So if you get a province, it's 17-6, then it's 23-12, then it's 23-6. Then you take 5 provinces, you're at 21. You've got to then pile out the duchies the next turn with all those extra duchies in your deck. The math is really tricky there. But
Yeah.
Naismith misses province one time, and all of a sudden the math is much clearer.
Which seems super likely here, especially with another
Yeah.
freaking moat in hand.
And there's only 2 moats in this deck of 21 cards now.
Did get to trash the curse though, which is nice.
Or did they gain? Did they gain a moat in the middle of last turn from a jester play? They gained another moat from the jester play. Yeah, so this is just 7 for Naismith.
Yeah.
Um,
Hasn't tried to play a jester yet, but we know as the audience that there will be no benefit from that.
yeah, so
Yeah, what?
JNails is not capped in gains with all the jesters and the duplicates. They can, gain multiple things in the turn depending on exactly how the play goes out. So it's somewhat difficult to lower piles here as Naismith, but maybe it's something you do. You just take, well, you can't even take three duplicates isn't enough. And 2 plazas, you only have 2 duplicates in your deck, so you're not really at risk of
Well, I mean, yeah, I guess the duplicates aren't really going to be hit by jester for the most part because they're
on the mat
on the mat.
most of the time.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah, this is tricky for both players.
Yeah, I kind of misread. I thought that once Naismith started provincing, they'd hit it reliably, but JNails was able to keep building, and they added moats to block the jesters. And
Yeah, I think if they're just like a jester hit a silver or another jester, a Smith would have been, for the most part, just cruising to victory. But the fact that the jester was blocked so consistently means that they were just like on the cusp of being able to afford province every single turn. Like it's not a good place to be where you have to discard to 2 plazas just to tread water.
yeah, and do you add more jesters?
I think I
Would
would
you add your
either
own moats?
I think I would take either 2 jesters here or a gold. I think I'd do one of those 2 things. I mean, the gold doesn't really even do well. Then you can trash a silver and maybe it all works out. Yeah, one of those 2.
The deck's getting thin, though. There's not. We're starting to run out of useful stuff to trash.
Yeah. So you feel like you might at some point have to trash a jester or a silver, in which case double jester probably pretty good.
Yeah, you've still got what, 4 heralds in the deck, so
Yeah, NA Smith has never
actions
been
seem good.
like, yeah, action limited this entire game. You can definitely push that by getting the two jesters here, but
You could go up to 3 jesters. We'll see if they.
nah, two, yeah.
It makes some sense to leave a duplicate down.
That's what I like. And here you can trash silver and play guide. Like NA Smith has to feel pretty happy about being able to do that. Maybe you still want the silver just so you can get some coffers, but I don't think NA Smith's going to have overdraw this turn. He's going to
Yeah,
be
they
struggling
have
to
a.
draw.
Yeah, they just have a province set aside.
And JNails is the one with the two guides, so I'd be pretty. Yeah, I'd be inclined to trash the silver as NA Smith.
Yeah,
As JNails,
Naismith only has the one guide. Does not have a guide down.
yeah, and the province set aside with Haven, that's not useful. As JNails, I wouldn't mind trashing one of the guides like that in order to have a good turn. Really hard to know whether you should discard the silver there. Okay, looks like there's plenty of overdraw. Oh boy,
Yeah,
that could be huge.
Jester hits Jester. Jester hits Jester. All of a sudden, the Jester pile's gone. Jester hits Plaza. The Plaza pile's gone.
Could be game over. Unlikely,
Takes
but
five.
possible.
Takes 5 duchies and wins. It does seem unlikely, but
Yeah, it's possible.
there's also there. JNails has a ton of money in the deck, so they can gamble here potentially if they're based on what they gain. If they need more draw.
Yeah, it shouldn't be necessary. Although, like, automatically discarding that silver there, I don't know about that.
Yeah,
Oh boy. Oh boy.
it's like if this Jester hits a Plaza or a Jester, we're getting close. Then again, if this last Jester hits a Jester, uh, and JNails doesn't have a win, then Naismith might be able to find a win.
Yeah. High risk all around. Oh boy. This could be like just a take six duchies play. Like, regardless, like, you're probably not emptying at this point, but that might be the line just to try to get a VP advantage. So you kind of force NA
Yeah, so we
Smith.
could have duplicated the previous Jester, and then
Mm.
duplicated the duplicates, and then gambled for them all and bought 5 duchies. I think there's enough money. You just need to gamble for 5. You get 4 gambles, and there's only duplicates,
Oh.
silver. There's one mode in there, but I think the gamble's hitting duplicate every time, or
I
silver or jester.
That's a really cool line. That J Nails unfortunately didn't go for.
Yeah, and they had to. If they didn't hit a duplicate with the second jester, then they just lowered the piles to
But no,
nothing.
but if they hit Plaza, right? They have like multiple outs at
Yeah,
that point, right?
I was thinking you
Maybe.
can duplicate
I
3
guess not.
duplicates, and then your discard pile is all duplicates, and you draw and play them all with gamble, and then you buy a duchy and duplicate it 4 times.
Yeah, I guess it has to be duplicate because if you use a duplicate on Plaza, then you don't have enough to get the points lead. Yeah, so that's like one card in NA Smith's entire deck. So yeah, I guess it would have just been extremely bold to duplicate that Jester.
They're doing something here. Are they going for all the duchies? They're hoping the last.
Well,
They're hoping the last duplicate hits, or they just gain this. They gain a ton of duchies here.
yeah, I think I mean, you get a points lead if you take all these duchies, right?
Yeah,
You have one more Jester down there? I'm not sure. Maybe not.
So the Jester hits a Plaza. So they can take another Plaza. And they have 4 duplicates in the bottom 5. Is that correct?
Oh gosh, this is the win that JNails is considering. Right.
Do they need 5 duplicates? Is there one?
There's a
There's 3
silver down
duplicates.
there. I know that.
There's 3 duplicates in play. Um, there's one on the mat, one in JNails' hands. But if JNails duplicates this Plaza, then they can only play 4 duplicates, which would be a draw.
Which would mean NA Smith wins the match.
One of those is a silver.
Yep, there's a silver. What is the other card?
Is it another Jester?
It might be. We're about to find out.
We didn't take the last Plaza, so
Not yet.
it looks like we've lowered to.
I mean, you got to double gamble and take as many duchies as you can, I assume.
Yeah, but if we
It's
if
a
we
moat.
duplicated,
Okay, it's a moat. That's what
if we duplicated, that was a bad reveal. They should have left that on top for sure.
Yep.
No, if they duplicated the Plaza, they'd have only had.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
if he knew that was a moat, he should have definitely left that on top.
So now we take 6 duchies and lose.
Well, if there's a moat in hand, it's still not a. It's not like NA Smith wins.
And A Smith can just take 2 duchies.
Okay, it's like NA Smith wins.
Take 3 duchies. Sorry, take 3 duchies and win, right?
Yeah, you're right. You have to see the duplicate though, which is now in the discard. But yeah, that's accurate.
And there's pretty unlikely JNails will have unlikely JNails will have a
moat in hand.
moat in hand.
Okay, never mind. It's actually just a trivial tie now.
They've got 1 duplicate down. They just had to hit 5 money.
Yeah, maybe you trash the guide now. Okay.
What a game.
Wow, that was a crazy last turn for JNails. Jester madness.
I mean, if the Jester sees a duchy, it's a win even. But
What? Okay, whatever.
if you curse them, it's a win even. It looks like they're clicking through now.
Trying to get that win.
You got to win on the style points.
Alas, we have the second tie of the match to leave it a 3-3 result.
Which means that the championship goes to Naismith.
Congratulations to NA Smith. And
JNails finished the regular season a half a game behind Naismith, and they tied this championship match. So congrats to JNails as well for being as close as you could possibly be in a match.
Impressive performance.
And both these players in great shape, obviously now have championships. So
that's right, and there will be more commentary then. So stick around for some great Dominion in the future.